just in, so then that way we have it and
Okay.
can look back. But like, is there anything specific that you wanted to talk about or feel like you
I
wanted
have
to?
I have jumped in a little bit more this last week about kind of giving them that deadline that we talked about,
Mhm.
using the like the end of April, starting the May, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, I'm switching gears as far as what I'm doing exercise wise. I don't know. I
Mhm.
got bored with
Yeah.
going back to dig deeper. So I've been doing
Yeah.
a lot more of the no excuses,
Okay.
shorter, and then jumping into doing some more cardio too.
I like that. That's one thing I missed. Like I felt like, so doing this different calendar that I found for Dig
Mhm.
Deeper, I like that it's not the same thing for 4 weeks straight and has more cardio because I felt like that's what my body like
Yeah.
needed that Dig
Yeah.
Deeper didn't have.
Yeah. Dig Deeper did great for me. Like physically, it changed some things, but I'm also like so excited about Body Lava. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot wait.
Yeah.
Um, and I definitely want to try that, but I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
love Dig Deeper. And like I said,
Yeah.
it really changed me physically, but I'm a little like I feel like I need some cardio.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
was trying to think because that's one thing I wrote down. The Body Lava sample workout comes out on June 6th. That's when it's going to
I'm writing that
release.
down.
Um, and so that'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
when that releases.
Yeah.
But let's see. So that still gives you've still got the whole month of May and like an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, this is a weird time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Have you
Yeah.
done 10 rounds?
Mm-mm.
That is a 6 week program. It's
Okay.
Joel. It's
10 rounds.
boxing. It's 3 days a week are boxing, and then there's 2 lift days each week is the
Ooh.
format of it. So I was trying to think if there's a 6 week program. That's the only one that I can think of the 6 weeks. If you wanted a program, that's one.
Yeah.
Um, but I loved that one. And it was great for like core, and it was the right amount of
Yeah.
cardio and core work, and then still had my lifts in there too.
Yeah. I've enjoyed the lifting. I just feel
Mhm.
like I've needed something a little bit more than just
Right.
the lifting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I may look at that for 10 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's a great program, and I I never realized how much back and core is in boxing until I
Oh
did
yeah.
that program, and my back and core were just brutalized every day. And I was like,
Nice.
oh my gosh, which is good right before summer.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
No
yeah,
doubt.
check that one out. Just see,
Okay.
it was a good one.
Yeah.
And you don't get bored with it because
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
I didn't get bored with Dig Deeper the first go round.
hmm
And I really think what got me this time was going back to the less weights, higher reps.
yeah.
And
hmm
I think I got bored with that
Yeah.
more so than like I just feel like the build part of it was more of what I enjoyed the most because
hmm
less reps, I was able to lift bigger weights. You had more moves throughout it. So
Yeah.
I just think that's where my boredom came
Yeah.
into play.
Okay. Yeah. And then once you feel that way, it's really hard to get your mind back on it and
Hmm.
enjoy it. And that's
Yeah.
the last thing you want to do is dread your workout each
Getting up
day.
and work out. Yep.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Most
yeah,
definitely.
whenever
Okay.
you get
I'll
like,
definitely look at that one.
yeah, look at that one and see.
Yeah.
Um, and then so that was the main thing is just kind of where we're at. I'm doing that max cut calendar of Dig Deeper. So it kind of
I
throws,
saw that. Where is it?
I'll send you the link because I
Okay.
didn't know. And I had to ask Cockman where it was. I had to
I
ask.
saw she was doing it too,
Yeah.
and I was like, and then I
So-
saw you doing it, and I'm like, where is this?
So it's so you have to go, it's under his Dig Deeper Nation website.
Okay.
And then he's listed, he has probably 50 different calendars under there.
Wow.
But it's so the one that I'm doing is a mixture of Dig Deeper and Insanity, which is legit insanity. And
Bet.
on the cardio days for Insanity, I'm like, I'm gonna have to modify some of this because he is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of his programs I never did because I was like, this just,
I've seen it before, but I've never done it. Like, I
yeah.
can't remember who. Brandon, did you ever do Insanity? Brandon, I was about to say, I feel like I
Okay.
knew somebody who
Yeah.
did Brandon did it.
And that's all Sean, that's pure Sean T
Mhm.
cardio fashion. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
that ain't for me.
Yeah.
That is not for me. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, I'll look at that too and kind of
Yeah.
make a decision on
yeah.
where I
and
want to
if you
go with
can't-
it.
If you can't find it, I can just send you this for, they've only released weeks 1 through 4 of this cut max. So I can just send you, it's on Canva. I had to download it from Canva and you can see it.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's kept me from getting, like you said, bored because
Yeah.
it mixes up the collections each
Yeah.
week. And so then
Something
it's like, okay, I don't really know what I'm gonna do this week.
Yeah.
So, but did you see one thing I wrote down, the National Wake Up Call with Allie Testatory, where she talked about the 8 action steps to
Was that this last
embrace-
week?
It was 3 weeks ago. It was the 3 weeks ago, and she went through just her action steps each week on how she builds for partners. And so
I
I
don't
wrote
think I
down
watched that one.
I wrote down the steps just because I like to make lists, and I can
Yeah.
take a picture of this and send it and
Okay.
post it. So then that way you don't have to write them all down. But she kept talking about that in order to have results, you have to have the belief and the action together. So going back to your why.
Mhm.
And then steps 1 through 8. So 1 was purposely looking for prospects, which is kind of what we've talked about, and that each day she adds 3 potential partners to her following. And then daily, after she's built like the following, she goes back, and after she's built that relationship, she invites 3 potential partners to the partner
Yeah.
business. Talking about your business you're building every day. That's something that this week I was like, okay, I've got to do better like on this, because I feel like it's really easy to share, the workouts and the nutrition. And then it's like, I hadn't even talked about the business side
Yeah.
of it or what I'm doing, with the tracker. So trying to do that. And then she said once a week, she picks just a random day and she'll go live, like in her story, and actually talk about it. So, sorry, Mason is talking to his friend
You're
on the phone in the background. Mason, close your door. The dog opened it like he had it closed, and then I heard.
Gotta
This
love it.
is what you have to look forward to.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and I'll have random numbers call my phone.
Oh Lord.
And then I'm like, who is this? And they're like, is Mason there? I'm like, who are you? I'm like, safety first. I'm like, let me talk to your mom. So
So I'm not ready.
weird.
Not mentally
Weird.
prepared for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that phase. So then she said 5, sharing the challenge group. So I'm going to try, that was the thing. I'm going to try to share more in there.
Mhm.
And like, as you get people in the challenge group, like, we could take turns, like,
Yeah.
sharing, so then they see both of us in there. Um, Post a monthly coach sneak peek, so that's just kinda like monthly, we'll share kinda what we're doing, and did you see, um, the info video that they put up
They
in the
just
group
did?
collective?
I haven't
Yes.
watched it yet, but
Okay.
I saw
So
that they
okay,
finally posted. They've been
yes,
talking about it, and then
I
I saw they
know.
finally posted it.
So both the links are in there. So if you
Yeah,
have people, that's gonna be the one that I send out, like,
okay,
for the next until they post another one. So
yeah.
if I
I
send
figured it
a
was
little
probably good
snippet.
because
Oh, yeah.
they were big they were pumping this one up, so I was like, "This
Uh-huh.
is gonna be good."
Yes. Yes. So that's in there that we can share. And then the last thing was get on the phone and talk to people. Like, you don't always have to do it like through a story or your post, but
Yeah,
just inviting people that's in your
yeah,
everyday life. So,
yeah. And I will say I struggle on the sharing the partner end of it because I I feel like newbie, like I don't have anybody yet, so
yeah.
I'm like I don't. Which I will say, like some of the stuff that I've seen in that chat with them, like made me feel better about some of the things they were like, yeah, I answer my own questions when I put a question box up there. I'll put my own question in there and then answer it, like because it doesn't show who it's from. And I'm
I
like,
didn't think about that.
that is so smart
Yeah.
because in reality, like
Huh.
I get a lot of like in this. And I actually told Brandon this maybe yesterday. I said I get so frustrated with this because I'll have people that are like, "You're so inspiring. You're making me want to go back to
Uh-huh.
the gym." Da, 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 da," and I'm like, that, "That's wonderful, but don't you want to
Right.
come do what I'm doing?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am frustrated on that end of things. Like I get a lot of like communication back.
Uh-huh.
And I know, like I've told Brandon, I'm just gonna keep
Yep.
my head down and
It'll
just keep pumping it out
just keep
there,
on
and
it.
then they'll eventually like
Uh-huh. So, if I
come.
get stuff, because I get stuff like that too. They're like the diehard gym goers, and they think this is just play, this is games, and they do. And, so what I finally started saying is, "Oh, that's great, like, if you ever want something, these can go to the gym with you, or
Yeah,
if you need to switch something up and wanna check this out, I can send you some sample workouts." So, like,
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
say sometimes stuff like that, and sometimes they'll take it, and sometimes they're like, that's not for me." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Okay, well, if you ever change your mind, you know where I'm at."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but it is frustrating because
yes,
but I get it, and body's come a long ways in 15
yeah,
years, like,
no doubt,
compared to
yeah.
what people are thinking. They're thinking P90 X,
Mhm,
Insanity, all
mhm,
your original 3 programs.
yeah, yes. I mean, I'm sure that's what a lot of them get. Then,
Mhm.
and I mean, I'm glad it's inspirational for you.
Yeah.
That makes me wonderfully happy, but
Yeah.
also it's like, well, you
Yeah.
can do it too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
like I
like,
promise you, if I can do it, you
I know. Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
So, and I get where some people are hesitant right now. Everybody's struggling.
Yeah.
Like groceries are expensive, gas is
Uh,
expensive. Like everything is expensive,
yeah.
but your money's gonna go somewhere.
I know. And that's my thing too, like, this is so hard because people are so quick. I know so many people that's on, what is it, Ozempia? Like, but
Mhm.
they wouldn't, and I'm like, "Do you even know what the side effects of that are long term?"
Long term, yeah,
I it just amazes me, like,
yeah.
even my teammate who's been doing 75 hard, 2 weeks ago, she came in, she said, "I'm sick," and I'm like, nauseous
Mhm.
and can't eat, and I'm like, Do you have a bug?" And she said, "No, it's this new medicine." Well, she had got on Ozempic, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." I'm just thinking, she's only 26. And I'm like, that just, I
There's
don't,
better ways. There's
yeah.
there's I mean, it's a tale as old as time.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily diet, but eating healthy and
Yeah.
exercising is what is sustainable.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, and I've always felt like that, even when I wasn't working out. Like,
Yeah.
I've always felt like I was never one that fell into the gimmicks of drink this drink and it'll make you lose weight,
Yeah.
or take this, whatever, and it'll make pill, it'll make you lose weight. I was never big on the gimmick
Yeah.
part of it. And I always
Mhm.
knew like it's work, like
Yeah.
eating right and exercise.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then I finally got to a point where I wanted to do it.
Yeah. Hey, and it's hard, and that's the thing, like, and like you said, it is a simple recipe to do. It's just doing it.
Yep.
And your body will tell you when it's full, and your body will tell you when you've had too much to eat. And
Yep.
how many times do we ignore that signal? Like,
Yeah.
it's
And the fact that
crazy.
you don't have to give up food
Yeah.
to lose weight.
Mm-mm.
Like people that do, the different keto diets
I
and
know.
this and that and low carb, and I'm like, for cutting them out completely. I'm like, your
Yeah.
body needs those in
Yeah.
moderation and
Uh-huh.
portions,
Yeah.
but your body still needs that.
Yeah. And then again, it makes me wonder long term, what is that really doing to
To
their
people, yeah,
systems?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
once you eat that way for so long, what is it doing? Is your body's going and with something for so long,
Hmm.
and something's going to give eventually.
Yep, yep.
So I don't
Whether
know.
it's a heart attack or,
Yeah.
I mean,
You can eat 50 pounds of bacon and cheese if you want to, but that has to
it's
be
gonna do something.
clogging
Yeah,
something up.
something's
That
going
can't
to.
be good.
No,
So
no.
so that's my thing, like, when I see I don't like to call them competitors, but when you see them on social media, it's like, "Okay,
Mhm.
this is what they're promoting."
Yep.
And people are following them, and some of
Mhm.
them are really successful.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, will they still be able to be here 20 years from now doing the same thing and having success? Because
Mhm.
what they're promoting isn't what's truly going to get people healthy
Yep.
forever when
Yep.
they
Because
can.
it's not just about losing the weight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to lose weight. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you it's not,
Mhm.
but that's not always what it's about, because in reality, like, I want to be here longer for my children.
Yeah.
And with that, I knew I needed to make a change
Yeah. And to be able to teach them, like,
for them
they
to stay. Yeah.
see they see what we're doing
Hmm.
and know, like, okay, these are some of the things that mom does, or this
Hmm.
is what I've seen her change or do.
Yep.
And then you can share those little things with them in the kitchen,
Hmm.
or,
Yep.
and it's a whole cycle
Yep.
that I feel is so helpful, not just to like the moms or dads, but the kids
Hmm.
too. You're giving it to
Yep.
them.
Yep.
So,
Definitely. And it helps you kind of realize like what they're eating or not eating, and
yeah.
like, which
Uh-huh.
our older one, he's better about, like, he eats carrots and cucumbers. That's about the only vegetables he'll
Mm,
eat raw with
yeah.
ranch, but he eats them every day.
Yeah. Mason's
Um,
broccoli with
now Braxton,
ketchup, and I'm like, "What?
kids are weird, man. They're so weird.
What?"
What they eat, like what their little things
Yeah.
are, it's weird.
Mhm.
Braxton, he's more of a meat and taters guy. We're trying to
Yeah.
work on vegetables for him, but
Mhm.
he'll eat some fruits. And that
Yeah.
still ebbs and flows, like, but we put
Yeah.
it on his plate every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'll eventually get to the point where he'll eat something.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
started
I mean, it helps you realize those
It
things.
does, because it's like, "Huh, I didn't put anything green on his plate because I know he's not gonna eat it." Then I'm like,
Mhm.
"I should put some green on his plate."
Yeah, whether
Like,
he eats it or not, like,
yeah. Like,
he'll
"Here's all
get
your
used to it
carbs."
being there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes they'll, like, get focused in on what's on the TV, and they'll actually eat it because they're not
Yeah.
paying attention.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it is those little things, and just, like, telling him like, Mason is one of those, if I sit on the couch, I think I'm supposed to have a snack, and I'm like, "Now we drink some water before we even go to the couch to watch TV, because I'm like,
you're not,
"Are
yep,
you
no.
thirsty or are you hungry? Let's drink some
Mhm.
water first." But I would have never thought of doing
Yeah,
that with him without,
without,
like, trying to be mindset,
yep,
like, so, yeah,
definitely.
I think that's what people miss
Yes,
or they don't realize, just the
yep.
little habits that we're able to teach them.
Mhm. And you're not getting that. People aren't getting that by going to the gym.
Mm-mm. No, they
I
don't.
mean,
Mm-mm. They don't learn any of that. The nutrition
mhm,
piece going to the gym, they don't get. They miss that
yep.
whole. Because I mean, I remember going to the gym. I didn't know what I was doing. I'd go eat a plate of cheese fries at the bar after I went to the gym. Like,
Well, I was one that I went into the gym and didn't really, like, feel comfortable trying out the
yeah,
machines because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'd get on a treadmill and walk for 30 minutes and then leave.
yeah, yeah. And so many people, that's what they do every day for
Every day.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to an age where, like, I love to go walk,
Mhm.
but the walking wasn't doing what I needed it to do anymore.
Yeah.
And I would run some,
Mhm.
but it wasn't something that was, again, doing what I wanted it or needed it to
Yeah.
do. And then now I have information. I have people telling me how I'm supposed to fit. And that's one of the biggest things that I think I took from Dig Deeper that I liked the the most. He's trying to turn that light off and flip mine off. I'm like, oh. But Dig Deeper taught me so much, like, technique. I
Yeah.
think is what I love the most about Dig Deeper is,
Mhm.
like, for not just like, oh, you're supposed to keep your back flat. It was more of, you're supposed to pull from here. You're supposed to feel this,
Uh-huh.
tighten
Yeah.
up, like, just those tiny little, like,
Uh-huh.
things that it was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what that's supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
I
I
feel
will
like,
never do lateral raises the same way because I remember him saying you need to really squeeze when you go down. I always thought it was in the lift here.
mhm,
I had no idea that I should
yeah,
engage at the bottom
mhm,
before I ever lifted. And I'm
exactly.
like,
Like, little things,
yeah,
little, like, detailed things that he would say, and I was like, that makes so much sense.
uh-huh.
I get why people do this exercise now.
Right.
Like, oh, I feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And then he's
And
like,
then when
okay, you need to breathe. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm
yeah,
holding my breath over here.
I
Like,
did that all the time. Like, it was like, oh yeah. And then where you're supposed to breathe.
mm,
Breathing out on your, when you're going
yeah.
against gravity and things
Uh-huh.
like just little things like that. And it made you tighten your core.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
who knew that doing that one little
Yeah.
breathe at a certain spot would make you tighten
Mhm.
your core?
Yeah.
I told Brandon, I said, I feel it a lot here lately. Cause I mean, I've still been lifting. Like I said, I've been
Yeah.
doing the no
Yeah.
excuses. So I'm still,
And that's still
eh,
intense.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm more out of breath on those than the other ones because he moves so quickly in
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, Braxton's big. Braxton is not even, he'll be 2 on Friday and he
Uh-huh.
weighs 36 pounds.
Okay. Yeah.
He is massive. We have an extra neighbor. She's got a almost 3-year-old, and Braxton is 2 pounds more than he is. He's not
Okay.
even 2 years old yet. I mean, he's a big boy.
Yeah, that's
He's
Mason. That's
massive.
how Masons always, they're just built.
Yes.
They're just put
Solid.
together, as my dad
Solid as a rock. Yeah.
put
Yes.
together.
100%. And so picking him up, like, there's no feet. And so like here lately, I have noticed, and I told him, Brendan, this. I said, I'll pick him up, but I noticed myself tightening my core
Uh-huh.
without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and it's easier to lift him, and
Yeah.
that's great. And, I sit at a desk for basically 9 hours a day
Yeah.
behind a computer screen,
Yeah.
where my back used to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't anymore because I actually do have core strength
Yeah.
from and without doing really a lot of core work, period.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
that's the amazing thing too. They said how little that they may do 1 day a week of core. Like I remember Kristen saying that. She said, but I engage my core through every other lift.
every exercise basically. And he's telling you the whole time, like,
Yeah.
make sure your core's tight, tighten your
Yeah.
core, use
Yeah.
your core. If
Mhm.
this hurts, you need to make sure you're tightening your core.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would feel it, like, as
Uh-huh.
soon as he would say that, I was like, oh yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That fixed it.
Yeah. Now I understand when my lower back was hurting. I wasn't doing my
Mhm.
core. Yeah.
Yep. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
No. But yeah, that's the thing that I feel like we somehow have to get to people, like
Yes.
in some way. So,
Mhm.
like maybe even in stories, you could spotlight like a move or something, or how you
Yeah.
engaged in a different way,
Yeah.
like maybe a couple times a week, and then
Yeah.
say,
It's probably a good idea.
like, I get this, um, or, I really think about more engagement based on the trainer. Like the
Yeah.
trainer's constantly teaching you, or if you can do volume, maybe I know in the mornings we can't because it'll wake the kids up, but yeah, on the weekends, if you're playing it out loud, you could let them hear the trainer in the background instead of in your headphones. And
Actually, I don't use headphones
oh,
in my
okay.
workouts. So
You
yeah, I could
could.
probably do that because
Yeah.
they're on the other side. They're on the
Oh,
other side
yeah.
of the
So
house.
they'd be,
They
yeah.
both have sound machines running.
Yeah.
Um, they have
Okay.
Tonys that sometimes my older one will put his Tony back on sometimes if he wakes
Mhm.
up in the middle of the night. So sometimes that's going to.
Yeah. So you could do something like that. Let them
Yeah,
hear as you're doing a lift, let them hear the trainer coach you through it. Or,
yeah, that might be a good idea.
yeah, just something like that to let them see, like them not just running through moves, like they're
Yeah,
actually teaching you something.
yeah.
So,
I'm writing
um,
that down to leave make
yes.
myself a note.
Yeah, I know. And I've loved the group chat because I've gotten, like you said, so many ideas just like with colored sticky notes with content
Yeah.
that one girl did. I was like,
Yeah, she
that's
uses a
brilliant.
lot of sticky notes.
I was like, wow, that is so smart. And then she
Mhm.
just has them so she's not having to come up with ideas.
Yep,
She just picks one and goes with it. And I'm like,
yep,
wow, that takes a lot of brain work out of what you're going to share.
yep,
So yeah, I've
definitely.
really liked that and the new business activity tracker. Those are the things
Yes.
that I've felt like, yes, and I have one from last week, like all crusty and folded up that I'm like, it doesn't matter as long as I have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I like that new tracker. It's
Yeah.
just simplified, I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah. And I feel like it is simplified, and I like that the bottom part's more detailed and specific, like
Mhm.
do this
Yeah.
exactly, and then you can check the
Well,
box.
it made me th that and to be honest with you, that new tracker is the reason that I went public on my Instagram,
Okay. Yeah.
just because it talked about expanding your circle on social
Uh,
social.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I know what you meant.
um, right. Um, and it made me open up to following more people. They talked about using like keywords to find people,
Yeah.
and I went to some of like the triad moms
Uh-huh.
on Instagram and kind of looked at who was following them. And
Yeah.
and actually kind of threw some suggestions out there for me, I guess, where we
Yeah.
had maybe some mutual followers
Uh,
and things like that. And it was so funny. I actually added a lady off of that, and then realized that her daughter goes to Braxton's daycare. And I was like, oh, I just added her on social media.
It's okay. At the
I was
yard
like,
sale the other week, this lady walked up to me and hugged me. She said, "It's so great to meet you in person." And I was thinking in my mind,
where do I know you? Where do I know you? Where do I
who
know
in
you?
the
Why do I know
world
you?
is this lady? I said, "Yes, me too. I'm so glad to meet you." I still don't know who the woman is. But then she said, "I've been following you since you got divorced and your whole health and fitness journey." And she said, "You are crushing it." I was like, "Thank you so much." You you have a great day. Like, I still don't know who the woman is. Hadn't figured it out yet.
Cracks me up. I was like, sometimes you put yourself out there and then it's like, ooh.
I'm like, and my dad walked up, he said, "Who was that?" I said, "Dad, I have no
I
idea."
don't know. No.
He said, "Well, she knew you." I said, "She did. We're friends on social media." I don't know. But
Makes me laugh, but
yeah.
it's par for the course when you start. I feel like you start opening that part
Yeah.
up, which is
Yeah.
always like so hard for me because I am so introverted, and
Yeah.
I've always been, decently private on a lot of my, so what I posted on social media,
Yeah.
things like that. We did not put our fertility journey out there until we got pregnant with Brendan,
Yeah.
and it was more of an after, like, this is what we went through kind of
Uh-huh.
thing. For I mean, so most people didn't know that for
Yeah.
6.5 years. So I've always
Oh.
been a very private type person. And
Mhm.
then like switching gears, now I have no problem sharing about my children. Like,
Yeah, right.
yeah, no problem. But it was always like, for me, like sharing about me, especially through motherhood and changes in your body and getting older and,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I am going to buy that book that you're reading.
It's
I
I
I
wanna
want to
read it
see.
again. It is amazing.
Yes, I'm going to
I'm
probably
on my
before we
last
go to the beach at
chapter,
night.
and I'm very sad that I'm on my last chapter because I don't want it to end.
Yeah,
And,
I'm excited to read it because I've heard her name just totally left my mind. In
the
our
author
No, in our group, in our
oh,
growth.
Morgan.
Yes, I've heard her talk about that perimenopause a
Mhm,
lot, and I'm like, gosh, so much of my
mhm,
hormones and all that
yeah,
stuff, which mine have always been absolutely insane. My
yeah,
body has never been good in that aspect of things.
yeah,
So I'm very interested in reading
mhm. It'll blow your
more.
mind, like, the medical system and how different it is for women.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it
can.
it makes me question so many things now,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Well,
"Hmm,
I've always questioned like
yeah,
birth controls and things like
uh-huh,
that,
yeah."
how it
And
gets
then
started so
yeah,
early and
and then you start
things.
thinking about supplements and what it just yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
So, you will love it.
Yeah.
You will love it, and
It
I'm
is in my to buy on my
yes,
Amazon.
yes, for sure. Alright, we've got a minute.
Okay.
Is there anything else you can think of Preston-wise?
No,
And
not
if
that
you
I
think
can
of
think
it,
of.
we can message and you can always call. I
Okay.
think we went over all the only other thing, and I'll send it because it's on the same page, is pictures. It's from a Brendan Burchard, one of his trainings he did. And, but it's basically the same thing. Talks about having that hard deadline, talking in your
Yeah.
stories, being direct, letting people be clear on what you're doing
Yeah.
and that they can join you too. And,
Yeah. I
you know,
definitely need to be more vocal in my stories. Like I share a lot of what I'm doing. I just don't feel like I talk about it.
yeah. And that's hard and that takes
Yeah.
time. So like
Yeah.
set a goal for how many times each week or this week you're going to talk in your stories. Even if
Okay.
it's just one day, pick a day
Okay.
or whether it be 2 days and then just share anything, workout, nutrition, how you feel, anything
Okay.
like that. A tip you learned. And then people get used to hearing that and knowing that you're going to share something.
Yeah.
So, and put the little captions on it. So then